loud.
Hello and welcome to That's Just Prime, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Dark of the Moon Jetwing Optimus Prime, and I love this toy. So here we have another reuse of the famous Revenge of the Fallen leader mold, and that mold was just so good they just kept using it over and over for different purposes. So this time around they've done a little bit of retooling, a little bit of remodeling, and made it look more like the CG model that we saw in Dark of the Moon. So a couple of differences here from what we've seen before. This time around, this is using a version of the mold that's referred to as the Buster Optimus Prime mold, which did a couple of different things from the regular mold. We're going to be seeing that. The only difference between this, and I'm talking about just the plain figure here, not the wings just yet, but besides the truck part here and the robot part itself, it's the exact same mold as Buster Prime, except none of the chrome. It's all just the silver or the gray paint that we saw here in the States with the Revenge of the Fallen. And then also they've added in this wing pack as well. Now there were a couple of different versions of the one we're seeing here in front of us as well. There was an all black version because everybody just seems to love black primes for some reason. And there was the original offering of the Jetwing Prime, which was available, if I'm not mistaken, in it was a Japanese exclusive. And the backpack or the jetpack here, it was all this dark gray paint. All of it was just really more of a dark gray or a gunmetal gray. This particular version here, this was offered here in the States via Amazon. This was an Amazon exclusive, and it had this paint job that you're seeing with the kind of a G1 inspired stripes here, and then you got more colorful cannons and whatnot. So this version was released in November of 2012. Like I said, it was offered through Amazon and originally retailed for $105. So fortunately for most of us, there was plenty of them, and eventually they dropped in price. I ended up getting mine for about $60. So as we're seeing here, we've got this jetpack in the back. And right off the bat, these little foot pieces here, they tend to fall off a lot, so they're probably going to do that again as we're looking at the figure. So let's just clip that back in. Here in truck mode, again, Optimus doesn't change. Optimus himself is going to be about 11 inches long, about 4 inches tall. Once you add the jetpack, you've got about 17 inches long and about 4 inches tall because of these guns here. And you can open up the wings if you wanted to do that. You can open these up and make yourself a flying truck. And then, of course, you can angle these as well. So if you want to do like an X-Wing fighter look kind of thing, you can do that too if you want to play with him like this, which is kind of cool. It's going to have a wingspan of about 20 inches right there. So this thing gets pretty massive once you add this jetpack. And of course, I'm not going to be able to put them down like that, so I got to straighten out the wheels. But there you go, or the wings rather. But there you go. Really, really cool. It just looks so awesome. And I'm having, obviously, a bit of a difficult time trying to show him off just because he's so big. Let me angle this camera up just a little bit because I do want to show off what he looks like from the top. There you go. And then from the rear. So these thrusters here in the back, these are on ball joints, so you can move these around and angle them. So if you're doing specific flight poses or something like that, you can move them around as well. As far as the paint goes, not a whole lot to speak of inside here. The thrusters are black. The main body is gunmetal. The wings are silver with the G1 stripe. And then the guns are kind of weird. They're kind of like this orange or gold, rather, and red with the blue on the inside. It's kind of like that Energon blue in there. But there you go. That's what these look like. The truck does have the electronics, and it is going to be the same electronics that we had with the original figure. So you've got the button in the back. Press on that, you hear the truck noises, and you've got an LED, a very, very not powerful LED in there. So it's the electronics, I believe, are the same exact electronics that we got with the first Revenge of the Fallen leader mold, which is this guy right here. And you can hear what those sound like, and you can see the lights right in there. Same exact lights and sounds. So there you go. That's what these guys are going to look like together, which is impossible to show them off on screen together. There you go. So as you can see, the trucks are the same. The only thing that changes is that this guy, visually, the trucks look exactly the same. The only thing that changes is that this has the wings. But this is a bit of a difference in the mold. The Buster mold did a couple of different things. So let's get the pack removed. And to remove that, you just come back here and you're going to pull the pack straight up. It's going to come unclipped. And if you look at the top of the truck here, you've got your trailer hitch. You've got 2 slots here and 2 tabs down here. And then that thing fell off again. If you look at the bottom of the jetpack, you've got that's where the hitch plugged in, and then you got your slots and your tabs to match the tabs and slots on the truck. So this comes off, and then you can set these aside, and I suppose you can go ahead and pull these off. Let me show these one more time since they keep popping off. Those go right there, and that one would go right there, and it clips in with a port and a slot on this peg and that tab right there. So there you go. So let me set this aside, and we're going to get into transformation. I am going to rush the it fell off again. Let me set these aside because the transformation, I am going to rush it just a little bit because we've seen this figure before. We've seen it a couple of times. And again, it's the Buster mold, which we're not really going to get into the differences until we get into robot mode. So we'll do the transformation real quick. All right, transformation. Again, it's going to be all pretty much the same. So put these down. Separate. Okay, when I say I want to rush through things, I mean I want to rush through things and then I get stuck on parts. All right, put those down. And we're going to get into something with the tanks here. That's going to be quite different from the original version, which is really, really cool. And you kind of see what it is now because I ruined it. I ruined the surprise if you haven't seen the Buster Prime. Anyway, there's that. I always love coming back to this mold and revisiting it again. It's just such a good mold. I really do enjoy this a lot. I like coming back to it when I did the Jetfire version, and now I'm coming back to it for the Jetwing version. I wish there was more versions of this mold. It's just a fun mold to play with. So, and again, I'm just kind of rushing through these. I have done this mold before. So, and as you can hear, there's the famous "I am Optimus Prime" phrase that he is going to repeat a lot. So, get used to hearing that. Go this way. Yes, you are. But are you? Are you really? Are you sure? I'm not quite sure. Maybe if you tell me again, I might be convinced because I just don't know for sure. I'm not convinced. All right, that's that. It goes in there. Same thing on this side. There we go. Everybody's done. That gets tall. There's transformation sounds. Work on the legs. Anybody timing me? See how fast I can do this? Start doing like competitions for transforming leader Optimus Prime, like we're doing a Rubik's Cube competition or something. There's that, there's that, there's this. Where's my other smokestack? There it is. Backpack time. Okay. How long did that take me? Anybody? Leave. Go down in the comments, let me know how long that took me. That was pretty fast. Actually, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so there is our leader, Optimus Prime, in robot mode. And again, one more time, let me put these up. Just as with the original, he's going to stand approximately 10 inches long. So very, very good size, very nice leader size. Now, there are some mold differences with this guy and the original. Again, Buster Prime mold made some changes to the tanks. We're going to look at that in just a second. Right here in the front, you can see right away. In fact, let me bring the first one in. This is the one from this is the original Revenge of the Fallen mold. So you can see that the chests have been remolded. So this one's got kind of like that abs that they molded for him in the third movie, in the Ark of the Moon, and then they left these panels open so you can actually see those. Other than that, pretty much the same toy. You've heard the transformation sound, and you've heard the famous... Why do you keep falling backwards? That's so weird. You also got the little panel here, so we can do... And you are also... There you go. So the electronics are going to be the same. So other than that, pretty much the exact same, with the exception of these tanks back here, where with the original one, they are kind of on there. They're not going anywhere. With this new one, let's get you out of the way here. These tanks are actually going to slide off, as you saw while I was transforming him. They just kind of slide right off. They're on a T-peg, and they just slot right in there. So we'll go ahead and pop those guys off. Put these back in place. And it kind of has to be done with this mold. Since we're here removing these tanks, it's a good time to bring up that the wings are not going to work on those other molds. The first Revenge of the Fallen mold, or the Battle Blades. I think it was the Hunt for the Decepticons, Optimus Prime. Those Jetwings are not going to work on those because these tanks have to come off. So... this is really the only version of the... I've got 3 of these, and this is the only version that these wings are going to work on. So now the tanks do come off, and then on this first one, you're just going to slide that up, and there you go. And then the second one confuses me thoroughly. I've played with it a couple of times last night. Let's see if I remember. This thing is going to open up somehow. There you go. That's going to open. This is going to rotate, and you're going to rotate all the way up, and then this is going to rotate like that. And then this top part is also going to rotate. I know that it does. There it goes. So it goes up like that, and then you take the rest of the exhaust here, and you're just going to fold it down like so. So you're going to have kind of this exploded mess. Now, take this front part here, and you can see a slot and a bit of a half of a slot there. And that's where that peg and this exhaust are going to go into. Just like that. And now you have a little bit more of a cohesive gun. It still kind of looks like an exploded mess. And this is really interesting because, yeah, it kind of looks like an exploded mess. But you've got this tab down here. That's what's going to go onto his hand. So when you do, in fact, put the weapon in Optimus's hands, it is actually a cohesive weapon that makes sense. Check that out. That actually, you know, when you see it like that, that actually makes sense. So, oh, okay, yeah, that kind of looks like the gun he had in the movies. Okay, that's the gun that just kind of transformed or grew out of his hand. There you go. So, yeah, that works. Pretty cool. So, now, let's get to the main event, and that's going to be our wings. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take away his weapon. We're not going to need it. What are we going to do with the weapon? Very, very cool. This actually has storage inside of the wings. So, again, take these apart and just put it back to its normal configuration. This mess here. This thing always confuses me so much. Put that back there. I can do it 100 times, and 100 times I will not get it right the first time. There you go. Okay, so now let's head Optimus off to the side as far as we can get him. And let's start working on the wing pack. So we're going to set these aside. Come to the wing pack. As you saw, we already removed one of these. We're going to go ahead and take the other one off. Pop these guys off. In fact, let's go back to Optimus for just a second. These pieces, if you've been wondering what they're for, because they keep popping off, these are going to be heel support for Optimus. So they're just going to slot right in, and they're going to kind of snap in place, and they hold there just fine. So if I can remember which leg they go on, yeah, it's going to go on the clip piece is going to go towards the inside. So, is it? I guess not. The clip piece goes to the outside. So there you go. Snap those in place. Doesn't look like much, but it is going to help him hold the wing pack. And then take the fenders here and just kind of bring these down. For now, Optimus is ready to receive his wings. Now, we're going to go, first thing we're going to do is flip these guys over right here on the bottom. These panels here are going to open up. And that's where these guys are going to come in. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the part of the exhaust that has that opening, and we're going to tab them into these grill-looking pieces right here. Just tab that right in there and close this up. Do that on both sides. Tab that in there, close it up. All right, we're already on that side. Now, come around the front here. We're going to take these pieces and we're going to bring these up. They're going to stay up. The guns are going to unclip. This clip was clipped in right here. So that was clipped in there. Just bring this out, and then these arm pieces are going to extend. And just extend them out as far as they will go. There and there. Now, this is going to take some doing, and I hope that I'm able to get all of this on camera. But first thing we're going to do is, if you look at, trying to get this in camera here, if you look at this piece here, it's kind of like a clip here. So we're going to want to clip that over Optimus's back. And then this bottom piece here, this is kind of spring-loaded, and this is going to clip down between his legs. And if we get everything lined up correctly, hopefully we'll have no problem. So we're going to take this top clip here. It's going to clip in right there. And of course you want to make sure that the... Am I supposed to put these down? I think I am supposed to put these down, aren't I? I think I forgot about that. Yep, I sure am. So that's going to clip there and come around the bottom. Open that up, and that should clip into place as well. Right there. Okay, so that's clipped and that's clipped. Come back to the front. You know these little flaps that are always kind of up like that, and they're always getting knocked down anyway. Go ahead and bring these down just like they were in truck mode, and then you can bring these down. They're going to snap into place, just like that. Now, the weapons. Oh, one more difference I should probably point out, and this is a good time to do so. This version of the mold does not have any weapons built into the arm, which is really nice. You know, the swords and the hooks that the other two versions had, they're kind of cool, but realistically, they really get in the way when you're trying to stand this guy up in robot mode. This guy has none of that. This guy instead has this slot, and that is going to peg into this tab right here on the bottom of the gun. So bring these around to the bottom and just open the handle up. The handle is going to go up through his fist. And you just kind of move this panel up out of the way so you can see what's going on there. You just kind of work it in there and peg that arm into the gun just like that. And then you can close the handle for the gun. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And he gets so massive and he looks so amazing. I cannot wait for you guys to see this. Get that pegged in. That pegged in. All right, there he is. So Optimus now has his wings. And now we can take these and open these up. And you can angle these any way you want. You can do that. Or you can follow the lines and just kind of do that if you wish. Or do that. Whatever you want. For the purposes of the video, I'm going to go with that. Just so you can kind of see all the wings. And again, you can angle these. What I'm doing here is I'm kind of angling. They're like this right now. So I'm kind of angling one forward and one backwards. Kind of like in a X-Wing configuration. Because I like Star Wars. And because I think it looks awesome. So there it is. Let me try and get them all. Oh, one last thing. Come around the back. The fenders. Fenders. Take the fenders and they are going to, the same way they plugged into the back, they're going to plug into the back of the jetpack right there. And they actually do a better job of plugging in and holding into the backpack, or to the jetpack rather, than they do holding on to the back of Optimus's the panel there. So it's kind of weird. Get the arms straightened out. The arms are kind of angled outwards in a weird way. get him all nice and straight for you guys. And there he is. He looks... How awesome does this look? This looks incredible. So, and he gets heavy too. So he's kind of hard to move. At least in front of a camera, he's hard to move. So here with the Jetwing, he is still about 20, or not 20, oh my goodness. He's still about 10 inches tall. The height does not change, but he does have that wingspan of about 20 inches. So I'm having a hard time angling this, and I am not sure why, other than because I'm in front of a camera. And things always are going to go wrong in front of a camera. So there you go. So yeah, so he's still about 10 inches tall. About 20-inch wingspan. He looks absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. But he is going to be challenging to display, so plan your displays accordingly. Articulation stays the same, obviously, if he's holding the guns. As you saw, the cannons are tied into the backpack here, so you have to get creative on how you're going to do that. The cannons do rotate, so that's pretty cool. So they kind of have this Gatling gun action going. That would be cool if that was motorized, wouldn't it? If you could just like hold the button down and have these spin and light up, that would be super cool. I don't know why. Has anybody thought of that before? Because I would love to see that. All right, so there he is. And I'm trying to get enough to the side. For comparison, one more time so you can see what he looked like. He went from... Because these panels are always moving around, aren't they? There you go. So he went from that to that, which is just absolutely breathtaking. And for another comparison, and I've kind of been both looking forward to and dreading this one, because I don't know if they're going to fit together. Here he is with Jetfire. And Jetfire's going to have to come up to the front just a little bit. Let's see how we can do this. Can we do this? Oh, there we go. That works. So there you go. That's what they look like together. So there's Jetwing and Jetfire, and let's do that too. Why not? So there's the three of them together, so you can see a lot of space being taken up on this table right now. So again, plan your displays accordingly. But yeah, so this is my representation of each leader for each movie. I know that this is the Revenge of the Fallen leader, but on my shelf, this guy represents the first movie leader. And then the battle hooks with Jetfire on him, he's going to represent my second movie, obviously, and, you know, Dark of the Moon. So this is on my shelf. That's my representations of movies 1, 2, and 3. There you go. Absolutely breathtaking display. All right, let's see if we can get you guys out of here without making a mess or bumping into the camera, because I've already done that way too many times. Let's get you centered back in the shot. Standing up straight. This guy is so amazing. I think that's about going to do it. Again, the Buster mold, it's a bit of a shame that it doesn't have the chrome, but it's kind of understandable because you've got to fiddle with it and play around with him so much that you probably end up scratching something and then getting upset. I do not have the Buster mold. I've actually never held one in hand. I don't think I've ever seen one in person, so I've never seen one. I don't have one. If I ever do get my hands on a Buster mold, I'll be sure to review it, but we've pretty much seen what that mold looks like with this figure right here. And I think that about covers the Transformers Dark of the Moon Jetwing Optimus Prime. What did you think of this figure, and what would you like to see me review next? Let me know by leaving me a comment. Give me some thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time on That's Just Prime.